The dreaded Z word is like a cuss word for some realtors. I'm not talking about the Zoom account, although many people will cuss out Zoom. I'm instead talking about Zillow. Love it, hate it, tolerate it. Everybody seems to have opinion on Zillow. Now, I'm a guy that has used Zillow and will continue to use Zillow for the immediate future. I can't tell you when the tide will shift, what will cause the change, but I do think that those of us that are trying to figure out how do we compete against Zillow have kind of an uphill battle. Okay. And my goal for our time here today is that we are going to do everything within our power to help you figure out how you can win when there is a juggernaut of a company like Zillow that's out there. What can we do to win and to position ourselves in the right sort of way? My name's Erik Hatch. I'm with Hatch Coaching and with Hatch Broker by Real. I come to you bringing as much content as possible for the real estate industry. I love leadership. I love team growth. And those are the things that I'm most passionate about. I aligned with a company called Real a couple of years ago. It's the brokerage that I am at. I was independent for 8 years, and now I'm partnered up at Real because I recognize I can go farther with the right people. So it's a pretty awesome opportunity. Then I also joined a company called Place about 8 months ago. Place is like a team for teams, and we are able to partner together and to do some really exquisite things. And so all this to be said, these are the things that I'm fueled with, but there are no sales pitches today. In fact, if I give you a sales pitch, you can pitch slap me right on out of here. And instead, I just want to give you as much value as possible. I'm going to bounce back and forth from our slideshow, and I will recap everything at the end for you. So for those of you who are so ADD that you're doing 9 other things as you watch this, I got to tell you, there's a ton of content that I need you to try to absorb if you're wanting to implement this, as we say. So with this, let's take a look. This is how Zillow or how realtors can win against Zillow. Let's notice my abs for just a moment and appreciate my rippling 6 or 8 or 12 pack. I just tired of being treated like a piece of meat, but we find ourselves here anyways. Okay, here are some Zillow facts. I'm going so fast. All right, let's take a look. In an industry right now, as I record this, it's December 2023. The market's been down. It's a post-COVID market. The market's been down, and yet Zillow is up. Okay, Zillow's up. They're reporting positive growth. They're up 3% in total revenue. That's a big, big swing of things. In addition to that, look at this. $496 million was their revenue just in quarter 3. Here's the staggering one. On the bottom there, look at that. Cash and investments of $3.3 billion. Zillow is ridiculously rich. Now, I have to be really clear with you. Is Zillow profitable? Usually not. They're playing a bigger, different game. Technology, when it comes to profitability and stock market and everything else, those all really play into a different valuation than what we do for kind of brick and mortar types of companies. So Zillow playing a different game, and they got over $3 billion in the bank. Holy geez, that is a lot. Okay, take a look here. Zillow is a lot of companies. Look at the bottom. Zillow, Premier Agent, Home Loans, Trulia, Out East, Street Easy, Hot Pad, Showing Time. They just bought Follow Up Boss and Spruce. I don't even know what Spruce is, but it sounds expensive. Zillow is not just one company. Zillow Group is a conglomeration of companies. They are in our worlds. If you are a realtor, whatever you want to do, Zillow has a play in it. And take a look at this. My marketing manager, Jess, said, Erik, help me understand this. And I thought, yeah, this is a shocking amount of statistics. Their quarter 3 average monthly unique users, that's individuals. They had 224 million people go to Zillow at least once on their website or their app. 224 million. The number of impressions and visits that they got, not just like pages looked at, unique visits, 2.6 billion. So those 224 million people are going to Zillow at least, if my math is correct, 11 times a month. Or they're opening it up that 11 times a month. You don't think that Zillow is a player? I think you're missing out. Zillow is a real player. So here's the truth of it is you cannot beat Zillow at their own game. You can be a death to Zillow person. You can be in, I'm aligned forces with Zillow. There are people that are Zillow Premier agents. There are people that are paying a couple of bucks. There are people who are giving now 40% of all their commissions to Zillow when a Zillow deal comes to them. Regardless of where you stand on that echelon of a spread, Zillow is here and Zillow is here to stay. In fact, Zillow is Googled more than real estate is. It is a more discoverable term and more commonplace in the average consumer's language than real estate. They'll say Zillow before they'll say real estate. And so that means we are playing a different game. And if we want to win, we can't beat Zillow at their own game. We got to play a different game. All right. I have a solution for you. If you're taking notes, this is when it's going to get good. All right. We're going to play a different game. I'm going to teach you some rules. I'm going to give you some things that's going to set you up for some serious wins. Also, props to Jess, my marketing manager, for throwing in Michael Scott. I feel like we're off to a great start. So I want to be clear. We have two ways in which we can, I believe, play a different game than Zillow, and we can win and win mightily and win handily. I want to give you a little perspective before I really dive in. Okay. My team, I'm in Fargo, North Dakota. I have a couple of expansion markets as well in surrounding communities. Let me tell you this. Okay. My team in our top year, which was 2021, we sold 1,024 homes. A lot of houses. We had a 10% market share at that time. I was spending $110,000 a month on Zillow. That's a lot of money. 110. No, I'm sorry. I was spending $110,000 on my total marketing. I was spending $65,000 in my top time at Zillow, which is still, for mathematicians out there, that's still about $750,000 a year. I have loved Zillow and I have hated Zillow, but I am committed to playing a different game now. We're still using Zillow, and I'm going to use that in the language and the description of what I bring to you. But I want to share with you and make sure that you understand that whether you're playing with Zillow or against Zillow, there are wins to be had. The first win is that we need to understand that there's 4 legs to a stool. Understand that what we sit on is usually made up of different lead sources. And you can see there on that image, the first is PCSOI. That's past client and sphere of influence. I actually think that this and reputation, those two, you can stand on your own and you don't need other legs to the stool. But if you are a part of long-term nurtures take an inordinate amount of time. They take some cash. I think that you can win with that. And then low-hanging fruit is what I would categorize as Zillow. In fact, let me break this down for you, okay? If you were to take a screenshot or write down some notes, this would be something to capture. PCSOI, I guess, past client and sphere of influence. These are people that already know, like, and trust you. I'm going to, excuse me. I'm going to come back to this in just a moment. So if you're trying to take notes, I got you. The Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, written by Gary Keller about 20 years ago, talked about the difference between Mets and have-not Mets. He's talking about the difference between PCSOI and people that are in different categories. People that already know, like, and trust you, they say that the conversion rate on that is 2 in 12. If you have 12 people in your database and you're doing the right kind of exhausting touches on them, you should be able to maximize and monetize at a really high level. So here's what that looks like, is that PCSOI, if 2 in 12 happens, that means that one of those 12 are going to do business with you and one of those 12 will give you a referral annually. Now, MREA2 has been written, I've been told, but has not been released. Now, MREA2 is an interesting change on that. They, instead of saying 2 in 12, they now say 2 in 20. But under PCSOI, I want you to write down 10% conversion. That is, if you're doing the right thing in the right sort of way, and I'm going to give you the blueprint for that. If you're doing the right thing in the right sort of way, I'm confident in saying that you should be able to get at least a 10% return on the touches that you do. If you have 100 people in your database, I think you can get 10 deals out of that. These are people that are past clients and are sphere of influence, that you have their contact information and you are in relationship with them. So let's go back to the screen here, because PCSOI, this is what I'm talking about. Zero to low cash investment. You can spend no money on this and just your time, or you can spend a little bit of money, things like gifting, things. There's companies out there that can do that. You can do that yourself. I'm not here to endorse nor speak against, but I'm telling you that you can find ways in which to stay in contact with your people on a regular basis. If you're taking notes, please write this down. Do not rely solely on automation for PCSOI. Do not rely solely on automation for PCSOI. This is one of the giant mistakes that people in our industry are making, is that they are taking someone who they're doing life with and relationship with, and then they'll close a deal with them. And then you send them monthly newsletters and you spam them with copy and paste text messages. And we wonder why we don't have the businesses that we want. Zillow plays the automation game, and I think we can play a different game than that. I think we have to play the personal touch game, and that's what you're going to hear over time as we go through this. But as we take a look, your high conversion rate, 10% conversion rate is what I'm expecting. That's a big deal. Okay, let's go to the second category. Second category is low-hanging fruit. Low-hanging fruit, I'm talking Zillow. This also includes Realtor.com and Trulia and agent referrals and things that cost us a lot of money. A high cash investment, low time though, because usually when that lead hits our inbox, we're able to convert that pretty quickly. If that phone call comes, that person's probably wanting to see a house or list a house pretty soon. Now, the mid conversion rate is 5 to 8%. But here's the truth of this. Let's talk real numbers. PCSOI, we can get away with a $0 investment. $0, just a lot of time, a lot of touches. But if you strategize for it, it's not going to exhaust you. Low-hanging fruit, the average cost. Remember, I told you I was spending $65,000 a month on Zillow. And I lost money. I lost money with a 50-50 split with my agents. I lost money on it because we were converting at like 8%. Our average sales price in Fargo, North Dakota today is about $310,000. 2 years ago, it was $275 or $280. And so let's just use some simple math and say it was an $8,000 commission. That $8,000 commission split 50-50 with my team member means that now it's a $4,000 win that I get. But the average Zillow lead is $300, $400, or $500 per market. Some markets are more expensive. You can find it less expensive in other markets, but let's use that even. Let's say it's $400. Well, if my conversion rate is 8%, let me do some math here. We're going to take 400 divided by 8%. That means that it's going to cost me $5,000 to make $4,000. Have you done your math? Have you done your Zillow math? Have you done your Realtor.com math to see what if you're going to convert at 8%, and 8% is good, 10% is extraordinary, but 8%, 6 to 8% is about standard for Zillow. What's your cost per lead and how much are you actually going to make? And you have to pay yourself or another agent 50% on that. And so this low-hanging fruit, yes, it can stimulate and lead to people becoming PCSOI. Do you see that? I hope you're nodding me like, yes, Erik, I see that. If I take somebody who's a Zillow lead and convert them, now they're PCSOI. And that's how you monetize it. But for many people, Zillow is a lost leader, or it's at least barely making money. Some people will brag and be like, I'm making, it's costing me $2,000 to close on a Zillow deal. And my average sales price is twice yours, Erik. Like, good for you. I'm really happy for you. Actually, now for real, I'm happy for you. I'm a little bit jealous. That's why I give you the sass here. But I want to go on. The third is long-term nurtures. Okay. PCSOI we've covered. Low-hanging fruit we've covered. Now let's look at long-term nurtures. These are pay-per-click advertising, right? Pay-per-click is low cost, like $8 to $15 a lead, long nurture period. The average pay-per-click, you need to write this down. The average pay-per-click lead from the time in which it hits your inbox until it closes averages 630 days to get to closing. That is a 1% conversion rate year one. That's a 2% conversion rate year two. And that's an additional about 0.5% conversion rate year 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we're still closing deals, believe it or not, on leads that I bought 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago. We're still closing those deals. And so that's why we have a drawn out 630-day period. But the sweet spot with long-term nurtures is actually year 2. And that means you're probably going to have to communicate with them and touch them 10, 20 times. So low cash investment, $8 to $15 a lead, mid-time investment, because much of it's going to be done through automation. If you're not using automation on this, please don't spend the money. There's automation. We have, I told you I'm not selling anything, but there are opportunities with Hatch messaging and Hatch systems. We have that through Follow Up Boss and Chime, soon to be in Brivity and also in Sierra and in Ylopo. So you have things that you can do that automates much of that. But the conversion rate's low. So understand long-term nurtures. If you're trying to bet solely on that, it's really difficult. Finally, reputation business. I like reputation business a lot. What's your YouTube channel like? What's your social media presence like? What's your community involvement like? How many reviews do you have? What's your Google Local Services platform? What's your Google My Business? If I take a look at that, do I see that you have more referrals than anybody else in your area? See, you can get people to come knocking on your door if you take reputation business seriously. I have people all around our real network, especially, that are doing this exceptionally well. There's a gal, and she has a team member on this right now. There's a gal named Tammy Price who crushes her Google My Business profile. Literally one of the top agents in the country because she's learning to build this reputation business. It takes time, but it doesn't take a lot of money. Look at that. 0 to low cash investment, mid-time investment, mid conversion rate. There's too many lead sources to tell you the conversion rates in every market is really different. But I will tell you, if you're going to win against Zillow, you better know the game you're playing. Zillow plays low-hanging fruit. And so that means you better look at these other 3 legs to the stool to say, which am I going to focus on? But guess what? If you're going to chase, if you're a large team, you're probably chasing 4 legs. If you're a small team or a solo agent, it is detrimental for you to try to chase it all. Sharon, who's the president of Real, said to me on a call a couple of weeks ago, let's see if I have it right. He said, I'm on the wrong page. Pish posh applesauce. I'm not going to find it. I didn't have my notes pulled up. He said something along the lines of everything works. You just have to do it long enough. What realtors tend to do is they tend to buy pay-per-click leads for 6 months, and then they'll say, well, this doesn't work. And then you go and you try to build a YouTube channel, but you do it for a couple of months. Then you say, well, this doesn't work. Then you go to Google My Business and you try to build that up, but after a couple of months, you say, well, this doesn't work. It's time over task over time. How do you think Zillow got to have 224 million unique visitors a month? Time over task over time. And they played one game. Now, when they're large enough, they can play other games. But you need to make a decision on if you're chasing more than one rabbit. But this, again, take a look. This that I'm giving you here is the chance for you to figure out which rabbit or rabbits you want to chase. I'm a large team, so I play in all of these. We didn't play the reputation game fast enough. We're playing catch up on that now. We mastered PCSOI, we mastered long-term nurtures, and now we're leaning into reputation. Like, it's going to take work. And if you think that winning against Zillow is going to happen easily, if you're here for a magic pill, sorry, my pretties, but I am going to give you option number 2. And option number 2 is something I have been curating. I have the privilege of coaching some of the top teams in the industry. That's a humble brag, but I'm cool with it. I have the privilege of coaching some of the top teams, people who are brilliant beyond measure. And my guy, Colton, who is out of Orange County, California, he and I hammered through this and we were just excited. I watched his eyes widen and my eyes widen because we're like, we're onto something here. And I immediately went to my team and I'm like, I got to share this with the world. This is something that people need to hear because this is going to be your chance to win in this crazy little game. So here's option 2. This is my secret plan. I feel like Dr. Evil right now. This is my secret plan that is hella awesome. Okay. I didn't know how to brand it, so I just called it my top secret and hella awesome plan. I hope you appreciate that. All right. The goal, please write this down. If you're going to beat Zillow, you need to make people feel special and connected. Special and connected. Do you think that Zillow makes people feel special and connected? No, they respond really quickly, and that's a big win. The consumers demand immediacy. That's why Zillow has found the opportunity and has jumped on it. We need to be quicker and more efficient, no doubt. But our job is to play a different game. And that means that we have to do what Zillow can't do. And we need to out-relationship Zillow. Write that down. Our goal is to out-relationship everybody. So if you're going to get there, if you're going to find your wins in this time, we're going to out-relationship people. And I will say this, I teach classes weekly. And I teach in something called CEO Connect. I, in fact, will invite you all to CEO Connect. You'll get a chance to sign up for it. It's totally free. I house it at Real. And so I speak directly to that crowd, but we welcome all guests to come in and just learn and grow with us. This CEO Connect is speaking to leaders. And I have, as a leader, said things like, well, we need to pour into our team members and we need to pour into our clients. And we say that, and I actually think that's really bad advice if not given a blueprint with it. Let me explain. If I were to tell you, based on all this, hey, we need to out-relationship Zillow, but I don't actually give you a blueprint on how to do so, it's bad advice. That's like you going to your spouse and saying, I need you to love me more. How about you tell them how you need to be loved? Like, get your minds out of the gutters, you perverts. I'm talking about like emotional connection and how you want to be listened to and how you want to be spoken to and the time you want to spend and the love languages and all that. Like, if you can speak with specificity, you win. And my job and my goal with you right now is I want to speak with specificity around this. I want you to be able to say, when Erik says out relationship Zillow, he's actually giving me a blueprint for this. He's not just giving me wimbly, mimbly, timbly advice that doesn't tell me exactly what I need to do. This is more detailed than I have given people things in the past. But if you're going to win, you better rip off my plan. Because if you're sitting thinking that you're going to come up with a plan, you're consuming way too much mental space. Free yourself up from that mental space. Give yourself permission to rip off and duplicate something that is tried and tested with some of the top teams in the industry. Can I get a hell yeah? Hell yeah. Okay, thanks. Here we go. This is my super secret plan that's hella awesome. Okay. Our goal, as we showed that list before, our goal is to get everybody to graduate to the PCSOI plan. That's our highest spot of conversion. We want to get everybody there. So whatever leg of the stool you're doing, if you're doing low-hanging fruit and working with Zillow, I'm speaking to you. If you're working with reputation business through a YouTube channel or through Google My Business or through reviews and that sort, if you're doing that, we got you. If you're playing the long-term nurture game, we got you. I got to say this. I have an agent who was on my team for 6 or 7 years. Really good dude, super likable, one of the most hardworking people I know. Now, he left my team about a year ago and went to start his own, and I'm cheering him on because I want him to win. And he's built a lot of his business on Zillow, which is okay. It's an okay way to start. But if you don't have a plan for and then what, and I fear that Tyler doesn't have his plan for and then what, and I could be wrong. He could have maturated his business quite a bit. But he's so talented. I just want to make sure that he has the and what plan. And the and what plan says, now that this person is in my world, what do I do with them? How do I make sure that this person graduates to be PCSOI? Because if we just say, I'm going to pour into them and we don't know what that actually means, and that doesn't show up on our schedule and in our task list, we're going to lose. So phase one, we're going to use Tony as the example. Tony is our mythical client. Okay. Tony buys a house with us. Awesome. Love it. Congratulations, Tony, you bought a house with us. We have a coach in our world, a dear friend. His name's Patrick Keller. PK is what we call him. PK is crazy talented. He's crazy smart. And he wrote out a 24 touch plan. Screenshot this right now, pause and copy it down if you're watching on YouTube. But whatever you need to do, this right here is his 24 touch plan. Every month it has a plan. There's automation in this. Look at this. All those newsletters are automated. Yeah, he's writing them or his admin's writing them, but those are our automated touches. The client events, those are labor intensive. The phone calls, that's labor intensive. Yes, everything I'm showing you is low cost, heavy on time. And I think we stare at this saying, how am I ever going to find the time for this? I'm going to get to that piece in a moment, but copy this down. I am done with this PK piece, but I'm going to go and tell a great story. Okay. I want this story to hopefully play out for you, because let's say Tony is cool enough to refer us. If we are great with our PCSOI, Tony's hopefully going to buy a house with us again in 5 years. But in addition to that, and we have a Tony here cheering himself on and cheering us on. Tony, that's like my go-to name for everything. It's either Tony or Jeff. I always make up a Tony or Jeff. And I don't even know why. But Tony, I'm glad you're here. We're going to use you as the example. Tony, we put you in the PCSOI plan, and guess what? You referred us to Sarah. Oh, buddy. I love you, Tony. That's a big win. Tony refers us to Sarah. Sarah's now jumping in. So take a look at this, okay? I meet with Sarah. Sarah was referred to by Tony. I meet with Sarah and I get Sarah under contract. Oh, I went too fast. Silly fingers. Okay. When I meet with Sarah, I'm now going to reach out to Tony. Here's the mistake people make is we say reach out and we think text message. If you're taking notes, I want you to put text message and then put a big X through it. Because if I reach out to Tony, who referred me to Sarah, and I just send a text message saying, Tony, dude, thanks so much for referring me to Sarah. I just met with her and I'm excited to help her find a house. 11% of our communication are the words that we use. It's 11%. The other 89% are nonverbals. The tone of voice, the things that we say, the smiles that we give, the energy that we show, almost everything we say cannot be communicated through our words, is communicated through our emotions. And we as realtors are trying to find those hacks to say, hey, I love Tony. Tony bought a house with me. Oh my gosh, this is my guy. I love him so much that I'm going to send him a text message. We can do better. And if you're going to beat Zillow, you got to do better. And so that means you send a video, super easy to send video, and you can do so through social media or through your phone. Of course, through your phone, but you can do so through your iPhone or your Android. You can send videos that way. 2 is a voice recording. There's a really easy microphone button that's on everybody's phone. So you can send a text message and it literally goes to it goes to, I was going to say a black screen, but it goes to just a voice memo where it would be this. It would say, see if I can do this right. Say, Tony, my man, hey, you just referred me to Sarah. I'm so, my hand wouldn't be showing on that. Tony, my man, you just referred me to Sarah. I can't tell you how much that means to me. Tony, you are a gift in my life. Thanks a ton for referring me to Sarah. And it's not going to be your face, but it's going to be your voice. And you're going to give energy and excitement to that. It's so important. Or an actual phone call. We can actually talk to people in this industry. Did you know that? Oh, we can talk to people. How are you going to beat Zillow? Zillow's all automation. We got to get to the heart, my friends. Oh, I'm fired up. So we're going to thank them. Look at this. Phase 1. Phase 1 is continued. All right. First, I meet with Sarah. So Tony gets a thank you. Now Sarah gets an accepted contract. So I send a video to Tony and I say, Tony, dude, guess what? Sarah just got an accepted contract on her house. She's moving to the south part of town. We're closing in January. I wouldn't have this life and this business if it wasn't for you. Huh. I want you to understand this. Do you think Tony likes how I'm making him feel? Do you think that when I thank, celebrate, and give specific gratitude and attention to Tony, do you think that will start compounding future success? Yes or yes? So when I first meet with Sarah, I'm letting Tony know I'm grateful. When Sarah gets an accepted contract, I'm letting Tony know I'm grateful. Then Sarah closes on her house. Guess what? Video, voice record, or call. Again, Tony's going to get hit by me 3 times because he gave a referral. I've sold 7,000 plus houses in my career with my team. I was an active agent in production for years. 2011 to 2014, I was full-time in real estate, and I sold 500 houses myself, not my team, but myself in those years. I had builder business that was probably 100 of those transactions. The other 400 came from past client and sphere of influence. I had the greatest business platform on earth. I had relationship capital that I had earned over time. And then I stopped connecting with my people. I stopped showing unique, customized gratitude. I stopped showing that they were special to me. And instead, I copied and pasted a lot of text messages. And instead, I started buying a bunch of business with Zillow. Instead, I stopped investing in my community as much as I should have. I was chasing so many rabbits. And so I gave my leftovers to my PCSOI. I was closing 100 plus deals a year from my sphere. The average commission in the United States is about $10,000. That's $1 million a year. And do you know how many sphere deals I'll do this year? And I refer them to my team, but I'll probably do 20. So just this year, I've lost $800,000. I've been out of production for 9 years. That's $7.2 million in lost money. What I'm sharing with you here is not a suggestion. It's like a commandment. Okay. If we're going to get really serious about our business and if we want to win, we got to stop trying to play the automation game and stop trying to play the Zillow game. We need to play a different game. We need to treat people as they are a big pumpkin. This comes from Mike Michalowicz's book called The Pumpkin Plan. Okay. This is a super, super valuable book. It is one of the blueprints for success on how to give exceedingly high value to people. Okay. So let's recap what just happened in this scenario. Tony referred me to Sarah, right? So I touched Tony 3 times. He got the pumpkin plan treatment for us. Okay. Now, Sarah is graduated to the 24 touch plan that I shared with you. I know what to do with Sarah and I know what to do with Tony. In fact, I want to start giving the 24 touch plan leads to the pumpkin plan. So now I want to share with you what are the 7 steps in the pumpkin plan. The pumpkin plan is written and they studied farmers that have those like 1,000-pound blue ribbon winning pumpkins that everybody marvels at. And there's 7 steps that you take for the pumpkin plan. Step number 6 is my favorite. Does all of your attention, it needs to go to the big pumpkin. Nurture it around the clock like a baby and guard it like you would your first Mustang convertible. All your attention, all your energy should go to your big pumpkins. All of it. So if we're going to win in this world, we need to give our top referrers, we need to give Tony extra love, care, and attention. Let's say I sent a video to Tony. I sent a video when Sarah got under contract with me, when she got an accepted offer, and when she closed on a house. Those videos are 60 seconds each. It's going to take me 60 seconds to prep, 60 seconds to send. So it's 3 minutes of video. It's going to take me 9 minutes to touch Tony 3 times. Tony, one of my big pumpkins, one of my top referral sources. It's going to take 9 minutes. And the likelihood of me getting another referral from him is exceedingly high because I chose to give that guy a ton of my energy and attention. 9 minutes worth. Don't you think that that's 9 minutes well spent? Don't you think that that's the best return on investment that we can do? So let's take a look because the game continues. Sarah has now referred us to Mike. Oh, Sarah hit the 24 touch plan with PK. And she loved me so much, and she has such a good experience with me or my team that now she's referring us to Mike. Well, guess what? When I meet with Mike, I give Sarah the same touch, the video, the voice recording, or the phone call. But I do that for Tony too. This was first introduced to me by a guy named Michael Mayer. He wrote a book called The 7 Levels of Communication. It's one of the foundational pieces of how I built my real estate business. Michael Mayer has something called the Great Retrace, and he's retracing his steps back to the original lead source. And I love it, so I'm ripping it off here. It's all a part of the You Matter plan, but the You Matter plan has more than just the Great Retrace in it. In this, we're doing the same thing, okay? We're doing the same thing that we did with Tony before, but we're doing it with Tony and Sarah. So here's the call to Tony, right? The call to Sarah I've explained, but here's the call to Tony. Tony, man, I got to thank you. Mike just agreed to work with me. And he's going to go, who's Mike? Well, Mike was referred to me by Sarah, who was referred to me by you. And you recognize that like you've impacted my family in such a positive way, Tony. My gosh, I'm so obscenely grateful for what you've done. Dude, you're changing my stars. Thank you for the introduction. Sarah now gets under contract, or excuse me, Mike now gets under contract and gets an accepted offer. I'm calling up Sarah and thanking her, and I'm calling up Tony or sending him a video. And I'm like, Tony, dude, you remember that guy I told you about, Mike, that was referred to me from, or that person, Sarah, that was referred to me from Mike? Well, guess what? Just got an accepted offer. Like this game continues on. Now that's another 9 minutes you're going to spend. That's 18 minutes total from a massive family tree. Holy cow. It's the win after the win after the win. Look at this. Mike gets an accepted contract. Guess what? Video, voice, call happens again. Mike closes, same thing. So now the pumpkin plan, guess what just happened, right? I just made more contacts. Everybody got the pumpkin plan treatment. And now Mike is graduating to the 24 touch plan. See, this is a cycle, and it's an easy cycle to repeat. So how long does this go on? Squints will tell you it's forever. Or is it forever? Nonetheless, such a great movie. Okay, if you haven't seen The Sandlot, I don't know if we can be friends. That we'll judge it right there. But nonetheless, it's lots of calls, lots of video, lots of voicemails, lots of gratitude. Okay. I actually think that gratitude is one of the most unbelievable laws of attraction. The more grateful you are, the more things you'll have to be grateful for. If you aren't affirming and praising and celebrating people, you will be forgotten. That was a powerful statement I just said. If you're not celebrating people, you will be forgotten through your social media, through your phone calls, through all the things that you can do. Make people feel seen, heard, valued, and cared for. Okay. Here's the narrative. Some of you are saying is, but Erik, I don't have enough time. There's not enough time. There's no time anywhere. Nobody's got time for all that. Baloney, horse cocky. If it takes you 18 minutes, not a day, you realize that to get that closed transaction from Mike, that I spent a total of 9 minutes on Sarah and 9 minutes on Tony. That's over the course of a few months, 18 minutes. It's the most important thing that should show up on our calendars, right? Our calendar should look like this. Really, really simple. We role play, we practice. That's the first thing that we do. Every day we should be role playing and practicing. From there, we should be lead generating. These things that I'm telling you right now, these gratitude calls and videos, these are lead generation exercises. And they're lead generation exercises in the bucket that is going to provide you the most return on investment. And then, of course, there's lead follow-up. And lead follow-up is spending time with people that you are already engaged with. These are people that you're already doing business and life with. So if you're going to win on this, there's not enough time excuses because you're chasing after the wrong rabbits. It's because you're playing a game that you think other things are this important, but nothing's going to convert this high. Nothing. And guess what? You can't outspend Zillow. They have $3.3 billion. So stop wasting all your money on leads. I was talking with a guy named Jordan Terrell, a dear friend, a coaching client. He's in our mastermind, all these things. I was talking with Jordan Terrell, and he was sharing with me, there was a social media guy, and I forget, it was Ricky Carruth. Ricky Carruth made a video showcasing how many leads agents bought in the last year. And it was hundreds of millions of leads. And there's 4 million houses that will sell this year. Hundreds of millions. Like we're chasing after the wrong thing. We need to chase after relationships. The cornerstone of all this is that we need to out relationship. But there's a second piece to this You Matter plan, okay? And I'm speaking specifically to team leaders as well as to those of you who are, I'm going to just speak specifically to team leaders, okay? I'm going to make the assumption that many of you operate a team like I do, or you run a team like I do. If you don't, feel free to just take a rest. Don't click off this video. I want to get the watch minutes up, but just close your eyes and go to your happy place. All right. So here's the situation. The agent on your team gets a company lead from you. Let's say they get a Zillow lead from you. We'll use that as the backdrop for this. I give Kirsten on my team a Zillow lead. She gets that person under contract. Awesome. Well, does this seem repetitive at this point? I now, as the team leader, I'm going to send a video, a voice recording, or a phone call. Here's how this looks. Kirsten's the agent. The Johnsons are the buyers. Once Kirsten meets with the Johnsons and gets them under contract, I'm going to introduce myself. So I'm going to send a video, or I'm going to make a phone call. I'm going to send a voice recording, and I'm going to include Kirsten on that. I'm not just sending it to the Johnsons. I'm also sending it to Kirsten. And here's what I'm going to say. Johnsons, hey, it's Erik Hatch, owner of Hatch Realty. Kirsten just came to me, so excited that she has arranged for you guys to work together. I hear you're looking for a house in the south part of town around $400,000. My gosh, I love South Fargo. It's one of my favorite communities. And I know you are in really great hands with Kirsten. So the great news is this. When you get Kirsten, you get me as well. I'm more behind the scenes working on marketing and leadership, but we're a team. So together, Kirsten and I are going to make sure that you get everything you want in the time frame you want at the price that you want. I can't wait to continue working with you. Congratulations. Okay. I told you I've sold 7,000 plus houses with my team. Let's go back to the very first agent I ever hired. The first agent I ever hired was a guy named Jamie. Jamie was a good dude. Jamie never followed up with his clients. Most team leaders are doing this mistake, is we are giving full relationship management to our agents. We are giving all power and attention. We're giving everything that we can to try to uplift our agents, but we are shooting ourselves in the foot as we do so. We're allowing that new Zillow buyer, that other person's connection, to be with the agent and not with the agent and with me. I'm not going to cut off the agent at the knees. I'm going to support them and endorse them at every turn. But I need to make sure that I have a relationship in this as well, because the truth of the matter is that agent's probably not going to be with you for an extended period of time. The average lifespan of an agent on a real estate team is 3 years. And so how are you after, let's say in the first 6 months, they close with Kirsten, and Kirsten maintains that relationship for 2.5 years. Well, now Kirsten leaves. She goes to start her own team or to be a solo agent, or even gets out of the industry. And so I'm coming in, fumbling, bumbling, stumbling, and tumbling on my feet, trying to figure out how can I serve these clients, but I haven't ever met them face to face. They know me by brand, but they don't know me by relationship. I now have to try to win them back after having not built that relationship when I should have. So we use this same strategy that we use in the first phase of the You Matter plan. All right. So we set ourselves up so that we can win by building a relationship alongside our agent. It happens the same way. It happens when we get them under contract, when they get an accepted offer, and when they close on their house. Bing, bang, boom. Those three pieces should be fully communicated either through the back end pieces that you're using for your team or the communication you have with your agents. But you are showing up, celebrating, showing gratitude, and building relationship and rapport with those buyers or sellers. This is putting you in alpha position 1 to maintain the relationship. Here's a painful piece, okay? In the last 12 months, I have lost about 60% of the producers in production from my team. We had some people leave and start their own thing. A couple others have gotten out of the business. A couple others have gone and are now solo agents. It's the lifespan of what happens for a team is you'll lose people. It's just the way that it goes. The bummer is I didn't do these steps I'm teaching you now. And I know that for us to win back these relationships is near impossible. It's not impossible, but it's near impossible. And so we have to do better, and we have to do better from moment 1. What I'm sharing with you comes out of pain, and it comes out of gain from coaching really talented people. Okay. So take a look. This is the next piece. This 1 week later, there's 3 things you can do. 3 things. Okay. 3 easy, simple things. Or 3 reasons, I should say. Again, you're sending a video, a voice recording, or making a phone call, but you're checking in. Hey, I know you closed last week. I'm just seeing how things are going. That's a call to say that you care, right? That's a really important touch point. Then you're telling them, listen, we do a bunch of client events and we do a bunch of things that serve our community. And I just want you to know you're going to get a whole bunch of invites from us moving forward because this isn't like a one and done. You're our client for life. Awesome invitation. You're now framing what's to come. And then you can invite them to win a 10K trip. I told you about Jordan Terrell in Denver. Jordan is just launching something called a 10K trip giveaway. For every referral that they get from people, that person's name gets entered into a drawing. The referrer, their name gets entered into a drawing. And at the end of the year, they'll pull out and say, oh, congratulations, Katrina King. You just won a $10,000 trip on us because you referred us someone. Talk about a reason to call. Talk about a reason once a quarter when you're connecting with someone. When you're connecting, you'll say, hey, Katrina, I'm curious how the first 3 months in your house been? Anything broken, or is there any service people we can introduce you to? No, I'm good. Awesome. Hey, by the way, Katrina, don't forget that we have our 10K referral plan. So any referrals that you give us, so long as we meet with the person or get them under contract, we'll add your name in so you can win a $10,000 trip. Where would you go, by the way? Would you go to Thailand? Would you go to Europe? Like what's your draw, right? You now have a reason to call and a reason to continue the communication and conversation. Oh, look at all those wins. So it's the same thing, right? Now they're a part of the PK 24 touch plan. The cycle starts over. We do the same thing I just taught you. Here's the summary. We are about wrapping here. So if you wanted to capture the summary version, this is your summary version. Okay. Tony buys the house. He joins the 24 touch campaign. Then he refers us, and we're going to make sure that we thank the referrer 3 different times. And how we communicate always matters. And we continue this forever, and we continue the great retrace forever. That's phase 1 of the You Matter plan. And who's the you? The you is your client. It's how we defeat Zillow. Phase 2, your agent gets somebody under contract. You again do the 3 touches in the 3 ways that I outline here. And then a week after closing, you do those 3 communication pieces that I gave you. You notice that there's a rhythm of 3 here. I'm trying to keep this simple for everybody. So these are the final thoughts. All right. We're not going to beat Zillow at their own game. So we have to out-relationship them. We need to connect, but here's a piece that I saved till the very end. I told you that this was a brainchild of Colton and myself, of us talking at great length of where these opportunities are and what we can do. And when I brought up video messages or voice messages, Colton goes, "Oh, I can have AI do that for me," which is weird. I don't think the technology is enhanced enough yet, but it's here soon. So I literally will be able to assign to my admin or assign to AI and say, all right, you need to give Sarah a call and thank her for Mike. And the AI will make the video for you and it'll make the voice recording for you. Do you see how we can scale this? Of course, our time matters. And I don't want somebody to just jump to AI and have them do that. But it is that piece that can replace so much of what we're doing. Remember, we can't automate our way to the top yet. But this AI play, as we deepen relationships with people, has a chance to win. For me, I'm not touching AI with my PCSOI, not for the immediate future. It has to get way better and it has to be super authentic. But for now, I'm just going to hand jam it. I'm going to go after and do everything I can. We need to make someone feel seen, heard, valued, and cared for. And I know as a fact, Zillow can't do that. So we got there in just enough time. I hope this gave you a great understanding of what you need to do in order to win against Zillow. If this didn't make sense to you, I don't know if I can help you, because this is a literal bulletproof plan on how you can out relationship the big dogs, how we play a different game and how we win. I'm going to do this. I'm going to have invites for you if you're interested for the CEO Connect. CEO Connect happens every week at 10 a.m. Central Time. And so we will put an invite in the details for those of you getting the email. If you're watching on YouTube, just send us a direct message and we'll get you that invite. Otherwise, we have a mastermind that's really awesome. We have a whole bunch of things that we give away, like 98% of our stuff for free. So you can just keep consuming the free stuff. But if you want to lean in and get some customized time together, I'd love a chance at that. So that's all I have. Pretty fun, pretty simple, pretty easy. Allison said, "This is fire." Thank you for that affirmation. I'm going to pause the recording. If there's any questions people have, you can put it in the chat. And then I will press record once again if there are any questions that are good for the whole audience. But God bless you. I will catch you on the flippity flip. And let's go get our unfair share.